Here to respond, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, you fundamentally misunderstand reality. Oh, I didn't think you could laugh.
That is absolutely hilarious that I fundamentally misunderstand reality. When in fact, what he's doing is propounding the idea that the police are responsible for this. I have never denied the fact that the police at times misbehave and act criminally. In fact, I don't remember Mayor de Blasio putting any police officers in prison. I've put about 70 in prison. So police officers can misbehave, and they are part of the problem. However, 96% of the problem is black-on-black crime. And his failure to recognize that is making this situation worse. If you want to have an honest conversation about race in this country, and you're not a racist, you're not bending over backwards to worry about how you're perceived in one community or the other, you've got to be able to say two things. Any police shooting should be investigated carefully, and if the police officer is wrong, he goes right to prison. And not all the times are they wrong. Number two, the reason those shootings take place more often in the black community than the white community is that in New York City, for example, the city he happens to be the mayor of, 75% of the shootings are done by blacks. That's the reality. That's reality.
Yeah.
When you escape reality, I'm afraid that's the person that may be the racist.
Let me throw up some numbers here. And the latest year we have stats for is in 2012, and that is the number of blacks in 2012 killed by law enforcement with a firearm, 123. If you look at the percentage of black murder victims that are killed by other black offenders, that number, we'll put it up, is 90%. So if I'm understanding what you're saying here is if we want to save the lives of kids that are getting killed, we have to look at the bigger source of the problem. In other words, the names that we don't know.
What this indicates to me is the mayor has a hard time getting past his ideology. His ideology tells him police are bad, they caused the problems, I have to warn my son about the police. Well, there's maybe a 1% chance, maybe less, maybe a 2% chance that any black young boy is going to be shot by the police. There's a 95% chance they'll be shot by another black. So you better train him how not to get shot that 90% of the times.
Let me give you an example, and this is just one, and I'm not picking this out for any other reason, but it is so shocking, and I warned people ahead of time. This was on Live Leak, the website, and it was reportedly outside the St. Louis area. And you watch this assault by a young person that picks up a shovel and beating people. You hear it so loud. Just take a look at this video.
Come on, Frank! Come on, Frank! Oh my God, y'all wait, put your weapons here! Y'all Frank, don't come here! Frank, go now! Frank, go in the house!
We're going to run that again, but beating.
That's the rule rather than the exception, what you just saw.
That's sad.
That's the way it happens 90% of the time. The police shooting is the rare exception. And the reality is there's a lack of proportion in what these people are saying. And in doing that, they escape the underlying problems. And if we don't deal with the underlying problems, there's nothing inherently wrong with these communities. It's problems that have to be cured, problems that have to be dealt with, like education.
Right.
Why not support charter schools? Why not support vouchers? Why not support new ways of having education in the black community instead of submitting to the will of the teachers union? What about more jobs, more opportunities, doing what I did in Harlem, cleaning up the crime so you could bring the national organizations that never would come to Harlem before.
How many people were getting killed every year? It was about 2,500, close to 2,300 a year. Individuals
I would
in the
say
city
if you
of New
look
York.
at my 8 years in office, I saved more black lives than any mayor.
You say that.
In
Now,
the
this is
history
important.
Of the city.
All right.
And between Bloomberg and I, we certainly saved more black lives than any two mayors.
Was your plan designed to save black lives in particular?
It was to save lives. I said one city, one standard. There was no difference to me between a white life and a black life. And Bill Bratton knows this. The CompStat program assigns police officers based on statistics. Where are the crimes located? So I put a lot of police in Harlem, a lot of police in Bedford-Stuyvesant to save the children in Bedford-Stuyvesant and in Harlem.
And the
I
murder
saved
rate
more
went down
than any mayor in the city. Yeah, how about it went down 65%? And 75% of that 65% saved black lives. But when there were a lot of auto thefts in Brooklyn, which is where auto thefts took place, because it was near the Verrazano Bridge, which I happen to have known as U.S. attorney, I was arresting mostly Italian white kids. And when I was U.S. attorney, I was putting mostly Italian white mafia guys in jail. So to me,
you're angry at this mayor for his comments to say that you fundamentally misunderstand reality.
I misunderstand reality. I've been spending my life fighting crime. I brought crime down more in this city than any mayor in the history of this city. If I misunderstood reality, crime would still be at 2,000 murders a year.
Yeah. It seems to me that, for example, if you look at the Garner case, the amount of taxes in New York City and state for a pack of cigarettes is $6 a pack. That's a lot of revenue for New York City, for New York State. They created a black market. So police are literally tasked with going into convenience stores.
It isn't the police fault. It could be
no, it's not their fault. It
could be the city's fault in terms of the laws that are passed, in terms of what the police are asked to do. Look at the Garner case this way. Suppose somebody was driving 80 miles an hour. Police pull you over and say, give me a license and registration, and you say, go to hell.
I'm going to be arrested.
Police officer's going to have to. What is he going to walk away?
No. But they do task police officers to go into these convenience stores to see if they have the tax stamp on the cigarettes that they're selling.
That's not the police officer's fault.
It's not.
That's a question of policy.
Agreed.
Mayor de Blasio may have more to do with that than the police officer.
My point. That is my point. In other words, that they want the revenue so bad.
But how about one of the teaching moments of this could be, don't resist arrest. If we're going to train the police officers in courtesy, professionalism, and respect, which we do all the time, and treat the community in a much more empathetic and decent way, how about we teach the community to treat the police as they should be treated, as the people who are putting their lives on the line to save them? And when a police officer says, put your hands up, put your hands up. When a police officer says, turn around, turn around. Don't resist arrest. If either one of these two people had done that, they would be alive. And if the first one hadn't held up a store first and smacked the guy across the face, he might also be alive.